Okay, you resolved it. You made the decision, figured out the logistics, maybe even compromised a little. Both of you agreed. And yet, you walk away from the conversation feeling like absolute garbage. Maybe even a little cold toward each other. Like you won the argument and lost something at the same time. If you've ever had that experience where you sorted everything out on the surface, but something still felt off underneath, then this episode's for you. Because I want to talk about one of the most misunderstood distinctions in long-term relationships, the difference between resolution and repair. And here's what I want you to know up front. These are not the same thing, not even close. And confusing them is one of the main reasons that high-achieving couples end up in what I call roommate mode, perfectly functional on the outside, emotionally disconnected on the inside. I work with couples every week who are accomplished, driven, smart, and genuinely stuck in this pattern. So let's talk about why this happens and what to do about it. Go grab a warm drink and let's dive in. Welcome to Relationship Reset, a podcast for high-achieving couples who've been together for over a decade and don't want to feel like roommates anymore. I'm Katie Russler, relationship strategist and couples counselor with almost 20 years of experience helping ambitious couples reconnect, strengthen communication, and turn their relationship into the best part of their success story. This podcast is about using practical tools and a lot of real talk to help you understand your patterns, stop feeling stuck and discouraged, and start working on your relationship in ways that actually fit your busy life. Because your relationship shouldn't be the cost of your success, it should be the best part of it. So let's dive in. Let me paint a picture for you. A couple I worked with came to me after years of what they described as productive arguments. They prided themselves on never letting things fester, right? Not building up. Every disagreement got talked through. Every decision got made. And yet, the wife told me, almost in a whisper, I feel like we haven't really been close in years. And the husband was genuinely shocked. He had spreadsheet evidence that they'd resolved everything. Budget disagreements resolved. Parenting decisions resolved. Whose family to visit at Christmas? Resolved. He couldn't understand the problem. And that right there is the problem. Because resolution is project mode. It's task completion. It's closing the tab. And for people like this couple, like a lot of us, project mode is where we live. It's how we got successful. It's our default. But in a marriage, you can close every single tab on your screen and still feel like strangers by the end of the evening. Because what the relationship actually needs is repair. And repair is a completely different thing. So let's talk about what is resolution and why it falls short. Resolution means you come to a conclusion. Something got negotiated or a compromise was made. You're on the same page about a decision. You may not like that same page, but you're on it. Resolution is necessary. I'm not saying don't do it. But here's the thing that the Gottman research shows us. Approximately 69% of the arguments couples have are never fully resolved. That number surprised me the first time I heard it. And it even made me go like, well, what's the point of teaching couples how to argue? But I realized after 20 years in this field that there are ways to help couples in the other arguments they're going through. See, 69% of the things you argue about are what the Gottmans call perpetual problems. Ongoing differences rooted in personalities, cultural differences, values, or life philosophy. You're not going to find a final answer. So if resolution is your only goal, you're going to feel like you're failing constantly, and your relationship is going to feel like an endless to-do list. And even when resolution is possible, even when you do agree, even when you do compromise, you can still walk away feeling disconnected. Because resolution doesn't address how you both felt during the conversation. It doesn't acknowledge the hurt, the frustration, the fear. It skips straight to the answer without honoring the humans in the room. Resolution is closing the tab. Repair is remembering why you opened the browser in the first place. See, repair is connection. It's what I call attunement. The moment where you both come back to each other as people, not positions that you're holding. Repair says, I see you. You matter to me. Whatever we just went through, I still choose you. Now, I know that might sound a little soft for some of you, especially if you're more analytical, more project-driven. So let me frame it differently. Repair is the mechanism that keeps your emotional bank account from going into overdraft. Without it, every argument makes a withdrawal. With it, you're building back up. And here's the thing that a lot of couples don't realize. You can absolutely repair without ever resolving the underlying issue. Remember what the Gottman said? 69%. So does that mean we always have to live in this disarray? No, because we can repair. You can repair in the middle of a disagreement, after it, even days later. Repair and resolution operate on completely different timelines. But here's where I see couples get it wrong. And this is the mistake that couple I spoke about in the beginning was making without realizing it. They come to repair mode and immediately start explaining. Well, the reason I said that was because, or I want you to understand my perspective on why. And I gently stop them when they do that and say, you're back in project mode. You just brought the problem right back into the room. No wonder your partner gets defensive again. See, repair is simple, but the moment you start explaining, you've left repair and gone back into resolution. Now, let's talk about 3 ways to actually repair so you have a better example. I put together a full free training on this where I walk you through the 3 specific repair tools in detail, and I'll tell you about that in a moment, but let me give you the foundation now so it all makes sense later. The first is taking ownership for your part in the argument, not ownership of the whole problem, not ownership of the entire argument, just your part. Maybe it was an eye roll, the way you said that one thing. The moment you checked out, even if your intentions were completely fine, if the impact was hurtful, you can own that. And I have had clients say to me, but what I said was true. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it didn't hurt your partner. So being able to say, I know my words hurt you, and I'm sorry for that, is a good thing to say. It's taking ownership. It's not saying, and I was wrong for what I said. It's just taking ownership that it caused pain in your partner. I've seen this with couples where one of them will start to explain why they've gotten upset about something. And honestly, it can sound very reasonable in the moment, but somewhere in the explanation, passive-aggressive jabs start to happen. And honestly, the person who's doing the explanation and doing that don't always realize they're doing it. So when it's pointed out, they can say, well, that wasn't my intent. I wasn't trying to say that. But the reality is it's coming out. It's okay that it wasn't your intent. However, the impact is what we're talking about. The impact is hurtful. It's a different thing than intent. And I often tell the couples I work with, look, we're not on the playground anymore. We can actually take ownership for the things we do that hurt others. When we do things that are kind of bullying behaviors, we can say, hey, I'm sorry, I definitely did that. This isn't about who started it or who finished it. It's just taking ownership for your part. The second is taking ownership for your deeper issue. This is the layer underneath the surface argument, because a lot of the time, the fight about the dishwasher or the vacation planning or the scheduling conflict isn't really about those things. It's about connection or autonomy or feeling controlled or feeling like a failure. When you can name what's actually happening in you, not to get rescued by your partner, not to make your partner feel guilty, but just to be honest, that's repair in action. And the third thing, this is the one I warn people about before I share it because it will make your nervous system go, absolutely not. The third is physical connection. After an argument, maybe even during, when you're still a bit activated and irritated, reach out and touch your partner. Hold their hand, put a hand on their shoulder. If you're feeling really bold, have a real kiss. Not a peck, a real one. I know, I hear you, but here's the neuroscience behind it. When you're in the middle of an argument, your brain has essentially categorized your partner as a threat. Your amygdala has fired. Cortisol is elevated. You're in some version of fight or flight. And if you physically connect with someone, you hold them, you hold their hand, you give them a hug, your brain gets a very confusing message. Why would you embrace a danger? And that confusion is actually the beginning of coming down off of that stress. Oxytocin starts to release, cortisol drops, and you start to soften. Now, I will make a note that if you have a history of trauma in your past, that this probably will not work. So this is for those of you who do not have any physical trauma or times where you were really unsafe in a relationship, where it was just more about the emotional difficulties and frustrations. My husband is much better at this one than I am, honestly. And I'm the relationship strategist in the house, right? Which is both ironic and deeply humbling for me. He'll come and give me a hug after an argument, and I'm sitting there in my perimenopause level righteous rage, feeling what I can only describe as generational frustration at all men. And then he holds me, and I feel it shift. It might take a little bit, and I may not love the hug in the beginning. I still think I'm right, usually, but I remember that I love him, and I choose him, and that's what repair does. Look, I want to be really clear here. Being someone who solves problems is not the problem. Project mode is not the enemy, but it does have its limits. Bring all of that capability to your career, your family, your goals, But in your intimate relationship, project mode, it has a ceiling because your partner doesn't just need you to fix things. They need to feel chosen. They need to feel like you see them, that you're listening. Not that you just see the problem, the task, the agenda. You need to see them too. Y'all have heard me say before, we are human beings, not just human doings. And when couples stay exclusively in resolution mode, in project mode, when every conversation is about decisions and logistics and who's handling what builds up over time is what I call an emotional divorce. You're still legally married, you're still functional, but the intimacy is gone. The warmth is gone. You're roommates with a shared calendar, let's be honest. That's not what either of you signed up for, and it's not where you have to stay. So, I said I did a full training on this, really understanding the difference between resolution and repair and what we can be doing. You can find that full video for free on my Substack in the show notes below. So go watch it and watch it with your partner so the two of you can start practicing these things. Now, I'm going to add to those 3 that you're going to learn and go into more detail in that video, 3 more. So now you're going to have 6 repair tools. Here's the first one. I want you to spot the difference between resolution and repair in real time. This week, notice when you slide into resolution mode during or after a disagreement. You'll recognize it. It's when you start explaining, justifying, building a case, or solving. There's nothing wrong with any of that in its place. But ask yourself, has there been any repair made here? Has anyone acknowledged how they felt? If the answer is no, you haven't actually finished the conversation yet, even if you've made the decision. So spot the difference and start to take action. And I want you to do tip number 2, try a 1-sentence repair. After your next disagreement, same day, before you go to sleep, try this 1 sentence. I'm not sure we got it all right tonight, but I love you. And I don't want to go to bed disconnected. That's it. You don't have to resolve it. You don't have to revisit it. Just acknowledge the human on the other side. Watch what happens between the two of you after that. And the third one, practice that physical connection even when you don't want to. I know I said I'm giving you 6 new ones, but I'm just going to extra emphasize that third one from the beginning. The next time you have an argument and things are still a little tense, try the physical connection tool. It will feel awkward. Your nervous system will resist. It's a lot like crossing your arms the way you're used to and then switching and doing your arm on the opposite side, and it feels uncomfortable. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just doing it differently. So understand that the uncomfortability doesn't mean it's bad. Stay in it. Breathe. Let the oxytocin do its job. You're not saying the argument didn't matter. You're saying you, my dear, matter more. So today's episode was about one of the most foundational distinctions I teach every couple. Resolution and repair are not the same thing. Resolution closes the tab. Repair rebuilds the connection. And in a long-term relationship, especially one that's been heavy in project mode, repair is often the missing piece. So go in the show notes and watch that full training video. Again, it's free on my Substack. You'll find the link there. It's a great companion to this episode. The two of you can watch it together and then listen to this one and start to practice more moments of repair in order to strengthen your relationship. Okay, everyone, I'll see you next week. Before you go, I want to leave you with this. The effort you put into your relationship is one of the most important investments you'll ever make. How you communicate and grow together shapes your home, your leadership, and the example you set for the people around you. Relationship work is truly legacy work, and it quietly impacts more lives than we often realize. If this episode resonated, consider sharing it with someone you care about, a partner, a friend, or another couple who's building a full life and want their relationship to be the best part of it too. And if you're enjoying these conversations, make sure to follow or subscribe to Relationship Reset. Leaving a rating or review also helps this message reach more couples who are ready to grow with intention. I'll see you next week.